Oh, scusami, Lenia. Sono uno scostumato, hai ragione. Stavo un attimo concentrato che ti stavo rispondendo. Io poi non vedevo la chat. Comunque, sì, sono io. Eccomi qua. Io sono l'altro streamer e c'era un altro ancora, sappilo. Comunque, è stata un'incidenza molto. È forse. Ma guarda. Io ormai non credo più alle coincidenze, non credo a tante cose più. Penso che non sia un caso. Comunque, bentornata. Spero che ti faccia una presentazione. Scusami, che ero talmente distratto a scriverti, a risponderti che non ho visto la chat. Sono una brutta ed orrenda persona. E comunque. No, no, ma figurati, pensa che io sono il primo. Eh. E. Niente, comunque. Sì, sì, tranquilla, tranquilla, fai le tue cose. No, comunque stavo dicendo, volevo dire, io di solito io faccio live il martedì dove c'è il podcast, il giovedì e il venerdì. Punto. Questa settimana va un po' così, le sto facendo quasi tutti i giorni. Cioè, queste sono le mie live fisse. Martedì, giovedì e venerdì. Mo' capiterà che lunedì farò una live. Lunedì sera tardi perché poi automaticamente a mezzanotte sarà il mio compleanno. Martedì c'è il podcast, poi giovedì e venerdì. Fare le tue cose, non ti preoccupare che mo inizio a giocare col gioco che ho sulla Switch e non ho mai finito. E niente. Comunque ragazzi, buon pomeriggio popolo, ben ritrovati. Ovviamente per pura casualità oggi ho deciso di fare un'altra live come ultimamente le sto facendo. E semplicemente ho voglia di stare sui giochi, non riesco né a studiare né a fare letteralmente niente. Allora ho preferito un po' di svagare un po' sui giochi, come avete visto, più chill perché non riesco a fare cose. Come si dice in questi casi? Teoricamente sì, è il martedì, però se ci sono problemi, come è successo in passato, io mi posso organizzare con l'ospite. Il giorno fisso è il martedì alle 15. Ovviamente, spesso e volentieri non tutti potevano e ci siamo organizzati diversamente con altri giorni. E per questo, tranquillamente. Se lui non può, eventualmente basta che mi scriva se ci organizziamo e niente. E ci organizziamo diversamente. Per questo. Guarda, se tu vuoi, a parte che abbiamo il nostro canale YouTube, sempre di Reaction, però se non vuoi, basta che recuperi i VOD di dietro le quinte. C'è il podcast dietro le quinte, ci sono i VOD di questo mese e magari giusto per farti dare un'occhiata come funziona. Ad esempio l'ultimo è stato martedì con una streamer, che è anche doppiatrice, e per farti capire come funziona un po' il podcast, no? Giusto per farvi capire com'è, così magari fate un'idea. Però non per qualcosa. E posso dirti che no, perché lo faccio io, perché per carità io sono il primo cretino su questa faccia della terra. E semplicemente è un podcast molto chill, molto tranquillo. Siamo io e il mio collega. Quando c'è, cioè in realtà c'è quasi sempre, però qualche volta è capitato che non c'è. Siamo molto tranquilli. Che alla fine, sì, facciamo divertire, facciamo discorsi seri, ma allo stesso tempo si scherza pure. Cioè, ci sono i VOD. Cioè, pure nell'ultimo, se ti fai recuperare l'ultima live con l'ospite, che è una doppiatrice e anche streamer, forse la conosci, non lo so, vai a vedere. E a un certo punto si è iniziato a ridere e scherzare perché siamo ragazzi, ci dobbiamo divertire, dobbiamo parlare. Ovviamente bisogna divulgare la cultura, questo è ovvio. Bisogna raccontarla, ma allo stesso tempo questo non impedisce che non possiamo ridere e scherzare contemporaneamente. Sì, 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 poi con calma mi fai. Per quanto riguarda, ad esempio, nel caso tuo è diverso, cioè nel senso l'unica cosa, sai cosa può cambiare tra magari te e lui? La differenza è che magari, mentre io chiacchiero con te, questa è solo questa la piccola differenza, io faccio vedere i tuoi lavori e niente, parliamo dei vari lavori che hai fatto. Alla fine questa è la differenza, che magari ne parliamo, io faccio scorrere in immagine in live i tuoi lavori. Questa è l'unica differenza, ecco appunto tra gli attori, i doppiatori, qui là con cui parlo di cinema, ecco chi invece magari è una disegnatrice, una pittrice, una illustratrice. Questa è la differenza, è solo questa. Ma proprio una sciocchezzuola, non le di che. Stesso, no, questo l'avevo fare. Ah, vabbè, lo so. Ho detto questa è la differenza, che casomai un giorno. Se un giorno la sentirei, questo è. Ok, ora tornando seri e iniziamo a Edith Finch. Ah, vabbè, per farvi capire, se tu cerchi da YouTube e altre cose, ci saranno altri illustratori che sono venuti. Per farti capire solo come funziona. No, ma ripeto, cioè, io posso capire, Tu pensa che, vedi come ti ho detto, sono un attore e doppiatore. Io ero la persona forse più timida di questo mondo. Ed ora sono qua. Ok. Uno dei giochi preferiti. Vedi, sto all'inizio, l'ho iniziato da capo. Spero di perdermi, oggi ho voglia di perdermi. Ultimamente penso a tante cose, ho voglia di perdermi. Spero che Edith Finch mi aiuti a questa cosa. No, vabbè, più che lavorare sto studiando questo, però come attore teatrale ho lavorato nell'ambito napoletano, ho lavorato a varie opere. Cinematografiche ho fatto tanti provini, ma 2 di picche, e doppiaggio sto ancora studiando. Sono ancora nelle fasi clou iniziali. L'ho iniziato da poco, cioè, io sto al terzo anno di doppiaggio. Vabbè, però questo mestiere ovviamente ci metterà negli anni, però sto studiando. Cioè, quando sei uno studente, a parte che tu si studia sempre, l'attore studia sempre, però. Però se
A lot
nel
of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning with the
qui
house.
fino all'età di 11 anni. Vabbè, io all'inizio l'ho giocato un po' per conto mio, però il live lo porto da capo. Sì, ovviamente sì, il teatro napoletano è uno dei più storici a livello globale. Però sì, ho lavorato in alcune compagnie, poca roba, però. Ma poi perché io ho fatto una scelta dopo il Covid, perché ho iniziato nel 2017. Ho fatto una scelta, o continuavo nel campo del teatro e magari avrei lavorato, oppure avrei dedicato alla mia formazione artistica. Allora ho detto ok, preferisco dedicarmi alla formazione artistica, studiare e poi dopo che mi fermerò un po' con gli studi vedrò cosa fare. Allora ho fatto cinema e poi doppiaggio, ovviamente, questo è.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the
Ma
rooms.
l'accesso a metà di queste stanze mi erano precluso. Ok, insomma la ricordo.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Ah, qui non si pagano le tasse.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Oh no. Ad esempio, l'ultima ragazza che è stata ospite ha lavorato. Questo è l'albero genealogico, mi ricordo. Ha lavorato a Doraemon.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Il suo testamento, mia madre mi ha lasciato una chiave. Ok.
Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Forse aveva pensato che lo sapessi. Oppure credeva che la velocità di svelare il mistero mi avrebbe fatto tornare. Letteralmente non lo so. No, questo qua. No. Che cacchio, che sto combinando? Gioco. Quindi livelli. Ma io ti dico una cosa, no. L'anno scorso è stato ospite, per farti capire. Oddio, ma mi si vede un po'? È stato ospite. Non so se lo conosci, Gio Quasi Rosso. Non so se lo conosci.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Ciao Sussi. Che fai? Gioco. Per questo. Non conta i livelli. Bello. Questa cosa me l'ero dimenticata. E mi nascondo. No, per farti capire, il Gio Quasi Rosso lo conosco da una vita perché siamo dello stesso paese,
The truth
ovviamente.
is,
Però
even
questo non
after I
significa
inherited the
che...
house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
Cioè, alla fine per me... A parte che ha detto che vuole ritornare a vendita, ma lo devo scrivere appena sarà possibile, gli
But
devo
now I
mandare un
have
messaggio.
questions about my family that only the house knew the
Ma
answers to.
circa la mia famiglia, qui potevo fare... Ah, ok, sì, qui dobbiamo fare delle domande. Sussi, come stai? Sussi, come stai? E con... non conta il livello in cui sei alto, cioè... A me non mi interessa, nel senso che come ti ho scritto, poi quando leggerai, non conta la luna, a me conta cosa c'è dietro, il messaggio di un artista, un pensiero, un disegno. Però le ambientazioni sono fantastiche di questo gioco. Cioè, questa è la cosa che io cerco. Cerco giovani, magari con... pure che non hanno fatto molto, ma perché a me non mi interessa cosa mi dice il tuo curriculum, ma mi interessa il tuo punto di vista, la tua verità, la tua osservazione, il tuo stile di disegno, a me mi interessa questo. Questo è quello che mi
The
interessa,
house
ma...
was exactly like I remembered it,
Ah,
the
sì,
way I'd been
esattamente
dreaming
come la
about it.
ricordavo, appariva nei miei sogni. Per questo sto dicendo, cioè, l'anno scorso ho avuto Gio Quasi Rosso, anche lo conosco da molto tempo.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Quando ero piccolo la casa interessante.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Avevi paura della casa, addirittura piccola. Ok. Ah, comunque, spero che sia stato chiaro il messaggio. Interessante.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Yeah.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Ok.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Ciao Poche, come stai?
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Mi fa piacere.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Oh. Vai al cinema perché è fondamentale. Viva la cultura.
Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Ok, poi c'è una consegna di cibo cinese. Ok, e poi quella gatta, avevano una gatta.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Poi che devi andare sempre a scuola, te l'ho sempre detto.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
La bisnonna in un ospizio, interessante. In che senso per Natale si fa qualcosa? Tu parli a livello di live.
Nothing in the house looked
Non lo
abnormal.
sappiamo.
There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Non te lo so dire.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Anche comunque il fatto che racconta tante piccole cose, dalla bisnonna, il fatto della tavola, la cosa, tanti piccoli dettagli che... Cazzo se mi sta piacendo.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Oh, ma in generale... Cioè, mi stanno venendo I brividi,
I spent
ragazzi.
a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Questa ragazza sta affrontando il suo passato.
Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Vediamo, se qua va avanti vorrei tornare giù. Non vorrei perdermi qualcosa. Io ho deciso di andare giù sopra perché volevo vedere altre cose. Qui ci sono...
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Ok. Questa è la stanza di quella Molly, sempre della sua famiglia. Però morte. Sì, sì, infatti, per questo ho detto se voglio tornare giù. Per questo non sono entrato in quella stanza.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Cacchio. Il Bigfoot. Tra tanti film, perché
Whenever
Bigfoot?
people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Ah, era un'attrice.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Ora capisco perché sembrava Hollywood.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Ok, il vincitore della morte. Diciamo che nella sua famiglia pure capitavano spesso e volentieri dei lutti giovani, eh. Cioè, un
As a
anno.
kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Magari era una stanza, eh. Poi ha fatto un bagno. Anche i libri che ci sono.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Ok, ok, allora ha sperato fino all'ultimo che fosse vivo.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Ok, chiuso. Lo voglio rifare di nuovo. Ecco quando io dico sempre cose che ti piacciono, cose che mi piacciono molto in un gioco, ma non parlo solo di un gioco, di un film, di un... in generale dell'arte, no? La cosa che amo io, i dettagli, no? Che alla fine, perché, cioè, magari, cioè, di Lenia, magari poche, hanno, forse poche più sì. In passato ho portato un gioco che tutti l'hanno, che tutti lo amano, lo chiamano il gioco perfetto, che per me non lo è, per tanti motivi. E... Ed ecco, piccolezze che fanno la differenza. Non è una questione di trama o di cose. Vedi i titoli dei libri. Cioè, cioè, veramente in questa casa ti puoi perdere. Cioè, adoro, adoro. Le stanze, tutto. A me mi sono innamorato di questo gioco. Sono già innamorato di queste piccole cose.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Ok, suo fratello è stato prima di lei qui. Ok.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Ok, io sono mossa bambina. Io sono una bambina ora.
My Halloween candy was all gone. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Non mi dire che questo si mangia il pesciolino.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back. I kept eating and eating.
L'ha mangiato questo.
I ate a lot of things that night. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
No, vabbè.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Dove si è trasformato in un gatto? Che cazzo sta succedendo qui?
The babies were all gone. I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
Che cazzo succede?
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
Sono un gatto.
I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Let's see.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Infatti, sto notando, lo so.
Juicy seals. I tore off her flipper and it tasted really good. Didn't.
His belly was rusty, his belly was rusty, his belly was rusty razor.
last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Vecchio condotto. Dove cazzo mi sta portando?
I got closer and closer. All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Ma?
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Versione per la Switch. Io sto giocando da Switch. Non so che cosa cambia a volte tra un gioco e un altro. Ad esempio qui ho tutte moon eppure cambiano delle cose.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Bisogna vedere la differenza tra Switch e PC.
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
Può essere che la versione Switch è stata diversa. Non lo so. Non ho proprio idea. Quelle a volte quando fanno delle cose, cioè quando magari un gioco non c'era su quelle piattaforme, poi l'hanno messo, a volte cambiano delle cose, come in tutto il mondo sono cambiate varie piccolezze. La storia di base era sempre la stessa, però delle cose sono cambiate.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Ok. Tutto questo
When Edie told
albero.
people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Ok, Norvegia. Oddio.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Sì. No,
Edie gave a big
l'avevo
interview
visto in
about
off
a mole
live.
man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
L'avevo visto off live per conto mio. Per conto mio mi feci 2 ore, ma in realtà non avevo mai visto la storia della bambina. Mi ero spulciato tutti gli esterni, tutti gli angoli, tutto quello che potevo vedere di questa casa.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse
Okay.
behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
È la miseria però. Mamma mia.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Mia figlia è... Quindi... Sogna già una nuova casa Finch.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Ok, il primo. Dell'albero genealogico. Lei sta scoprendo tutto il passato. Ovviamente... Non potevo immaginare che non era di nuovo come la bimba. Sarebbe stato esagerato di nuovo. Ma ogni...
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Non sono pronto ad una
There's
nuova...
a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Grazie mille per il lurk. E grazie mille per la compagnia di oggi.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam, come in. Dinner's ready.
Coming! But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Grazie.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Ok, che finalmente sto capendo meglio. Ora sto capendo meglio molte cose.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies. Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned.
Oddio, il
So
carrione.
Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Vabbè,
She
adoro.
found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Che cazzo sto vedendo qui?
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
La domanda è come mai questa scelta mi è utile di fare questa cosa. Cosa sta succedendo qui? Combatterò un nemico.
Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Molly's door hadn't been opened in
Interessante.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet. The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Chiamo.
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Bene.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending. I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box. It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Già, è tutto così strano. Stava giù. Non ricordo male. Quindi è andato tutto più buio, è l'impressione mia. Si sta facendo tardi.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you
mangi ragione.
you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped.
Quanti giorni sono... Ah,
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
devo controllare tutti i dettagli.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara. And Molly. And Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Okay.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Cats.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
Giusto un pochino.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Per i protagonisti di queste storie ci credono per quello che vale.
And when you look at the house,
Quando
that
osservi la
history
casa,
of imagination and
quando
stubbornness
osservi
and madness, any of it seems possible.
tutto è sempre possibile.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Ah, eccola appunto la vecchia casa che è stata. Cioè, dal mare.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Potrei piangere. Oggi,
But looking back on it now,
mi avvolgendo ora.
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
No. Ah, lei è incinta.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
La protagonista è incinta.
They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something. Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Ok, questo era un soldato alla fine.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. What? Am I gonna have to...
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Sì. Penso che questo mi farà piangere, lo sai?
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Ecco qua. Anche se questa foto non la sto capendo, questa è l'unica foto che non ho capito fino a me.
Nothing quite like being outside.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I definitely won't be moving.
Are you done yet?
Does it sound like I'm done? Oop. A little more gas in the tank, I guess. Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Questa è signorina
I'm being
Kate,
serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
To tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Idem.
Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Fatte.
You don't need to waste any
Hai
more
detto
film
bene,
on me, kiddo.
fatte.
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time.
Tranquilla,
Give me a
fai le
minute
tue
to check the map.
cose. Pensa alle tue cose, non ti preoccupare per me. Buon qualunque cosa tu stia facendo, e grazie mille. Devo fare una presentazione.
Let's see. Could have been. Eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Don! I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Don. Just gotta reset the timer.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so...
normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Bene, la fa.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Però penso che sia morto da quella caduta. Fa un po' male. Ma tecnicamente dice se tu vuoi sopravvivere deve essere più forte.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot. I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. Father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Ah, benissimo. Ah, adoro questa famiglia Finch, eh. Ogni cosa.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Ok, sotto la pioggia, tutti andano sotto il tendone, ok.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Ok, nessuno si spaventava.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Mamma mia. Una tragedia sta famiglia, oh.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Sono morti entrambi i fratelli.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Ma se voglio scendere giù se mi sono perso qualcosa. No.
Lewis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
L'anno che sono nato io? O era l'anno che era nato pure lui?
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Pennello magico. Suona un po' male, però va bene. Sapete com'è? Pennello magico. Ma
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Mamma mia, che brividi.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Però, Oh, signorino. Ogni tanto mi faceva una fumatella.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that had not names. He knew it was all in his head. He took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery, I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. Queen was on her own quest for
Non lo so,
Radiant
qualcosa nella
rainbows.
piantina sta vicino.
He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Come per lui era andato, c'era la testa, non c'era altro. E noi siamo lui. Videogiochi, era un nerdone.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
E non voleva essere lui. Voleva essere il re.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Ma vabbè, io non ci posso credere.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
io letteralmente non ci posso credere, ragazzi,
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Oh, Spardina.
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Non so se lo conosci. Edith Finch, lo conosci questo gioco? In poche parole, siamo Edith, bambina nata nel 1999. E chiunque è passato qui in chat prima che lei ci ha giocato, ha detto che hanno definito tutti quanti un bellissimo gioco. E da quello che ho capito sono alla fine, non dura tanto. Io oggi è puro caso che faccio live. E niente, questa bambina in realtà, questa donna, sta cercando di scoprire il suo albero genealogico, di tutti i suoi parenti che vivevano in quella casa, di tutte le tragedie, che fino alla fine tutti i maschi hanno vissuto una tragedia. Tutti i maschi, anche una bambina. E infatti sta rivedendo il passato, ma siamo nell'ultimo della famiglia, questo albero genealogico che è il fratello. E ora stiamo cercando delle cose. Il fratello Milton era nel 92. Nel mio anno, sì. Apro e chiudo i parentesi. Questa qui abbiamo scoperto che durante il gioco questa è incinta, questa ragazza. Ma stiamo sull'ultimo della famiglia, l'ultimo dell'albero genealogico.
That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Sei del 99, signorina. Devo dire la verità, una bella data.
Things I can't explain, but the...
Ti spiego, questa casa dalla Norvegia la volevano portare in America, perché questa viene da una famiglia norvegese. E niente, però questa casa era stata distrutta durante il trasporto dalle onde del mare. Niente, ma a un certo punto si dice che lei sta vedendo questa casa.
I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Edie, è la sua bisnonna.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Eh sì. Non è un gioco che dura tanto e costa pure poco. Ah,
We both tried to make the best
le
of it.
recensioni sono tutte altissime. Se vuoi giocare a qualcosa di diverso, però sappi che è molto drammatico, moltissimo, moltissimo, però è abbastanza.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
Lei è l'ultima Finch rimasta in vita. Non la volevo
Until I
ascoltare.
found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Se stai chiedendo di chi sta parlando, non lo so.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself.
La sua famiglia.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Vabbè, se è la vita del figlio potrei impazzire.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
No! Ma no! Ma cazzo, no! Ma no! Ma che cazzo? Cioè, mentre noi stavamo vivendo i ricordi della bisnonna, lei ha scritto dei ricordi e quando ha partorito il figlio è morto, è morta. Così finisce il gioco. Questo è successo. No. Non me l'aspettavo. (...) 1999-2017. No, Edith Finch, madonna, ho i brividi. Mi dispiace che non hai visto quella scena. E c'è il figlio che porta i fiori sulla tomba della mamma. Di questa famiglia Finch ha il cimitero proprio vicino a casa sua. C'è questo bambino che porta i fiori. E lei c'ha questa lettera d'amore che scrive al figlio. E ma questo qua fanno delle fotografie, penso, dei produttori, cioè dei produttori, dei disegnatori, di tutti gli artisti che hanno lavorato. I titoli che hanno lavorato a questi giochi. Alla pesca, cioè. Madonna. Che cazzo di gioco. E loro da bambini sono. Che cazzo, è un giocone. Guarda, te lo consiglio vivamente di giocarlo. Magari non giochi per conto tuo, non... No, fidati, fidati. Fidati di me, Spardina, fidati, ne vale la pena. Fidati. Questo è l'inizio del gioco. Vabbè, io sto andando questo. Vedi alla pancia, vedi. Ah, invece no, ti posso dire che...
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. No, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Okay.
After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
Ho fatto tutto letteralmente bene.
My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Grazie Edith. Grazie. E niente, comunque ragazzi, che cazzo di gioco. Frattempo io fra un po' vedrò chi c'è per il raid. C'è nulla da fare, ragazzi. Se un gioco è un gioco, è un giocone. Cioè, è veramente un gioco bellissimo. A chi c'è ancora, ve lo consiglio vivamente. Che Cazzo, sono un capolavoro. Vediamo un po'. Il ride sta andando, dai. Ragazzi, cosa posso dirvi? Io vi ringrazio per la compagnia. Vi ringrazio di tutto. Ovviamente c'è il buon Drac in maratona. Lasciatevi un followino. Oppure supportato, lasciate il lurk. Cosa dire? È un capolavoro. Fottuto capolavoro sto gioco ed è meraviglioso. Cosa dirvi? Grazie mille, veramente ne avevo bisogno, letteralmente bisogno di questo gioco. Incredibilmente ma vero, ma ne avevo bisogno. Non tanto perché tutte le storie che scopriamo delle persone della famiglia di cui discendiamo in questo albero genealogico, perché comunque si va di affrontare la morte. No, non sto parlando di questo, sto parlando di ben altro. E niente, ne avevo bisogno, letteralmente bisogno. Grazie mille a tutti. La compagnia. Grazie. A volte basta poco. In questo caso ne avevo proprio letteralmente bisogno. Ciao popolo, buon weekend, divertitevi e non fate come me. Ciao belli, sto scherzando. Ciao.